thank you again for inviting us to be here with you today. I'm Mary Malloy. I'm a music therapist, have been for decades. Crazy how time flies. Jackie, I met however many years ago as an intern. She was one of my interns at Baton Rouge General. But we want to talk with you a little bit today about what is music therapy, and then we're going to do some experience. And I want to kind of harken back to, was it Celeste singing, who said that just the way that the music impacted in that time with that song and that historical, cultural situation. And that kind of takes me to why music and why music therapy. I know that if I asked you all to think about how music affects you on any given day or in any given situation, we would identify emotional expression things, the way that music can help us express ourselves, the cognitive impact of music, being able to read those notes and understand the chords, and for the gentleman playing the piano, I mean, all of the thinking, all of the cognitive stuff that's happening in our brains in order to make music. It's really another language that we learn. What else? The physical aspect of music, not just of making music, but if we had done that song as a dirge, it would have had a different impact on our physiology. And what we now know from science and research is that music affects us on all of those levels. It can affect our heart rate, it can affect our breathing, it can affect our cognition, our memory. Who did not learn the alphabet with a song, right? So it becomes such a great tool. A couple of other aspects that music bring us, it can connect to our spirituality. It connects us to something bigger than ourselves. Certainly we have music for church, we have music for all different aspects of our lives, right? Different music if I'm cleaning the house than if I'm trying to relax, right? And it also connects us to each other. Again, those songs that we sing in church connect us to something bigger, but they also connect us to each other. And if we're singing the fight song at the Tigers game, it connects us to that group, right? And it's a completely different situation. A happy birthday song, all of those kinds of things connect us, remind us that we're not alone. And even if I'm sitting at home playing the piano on my own, I am still connecting with whoever wrote that music, and perhaps whoever created that instrument that I'm playing on. It connects us across time and generations. So with all of that said, what is music therapy but a tool using music to help people accomplish other goals? Jackie has done such a lovely job of putting the PowerPoint together.
My glasses on so I can read it.
There we go. The official definition is that music therapy is a clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program. That's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. But every phrase in there is really important. It is clinical. It is evidence-based. There is research that backs the use of music up in the interventions that we use. The goals are not musical. Our goal is not to teach someone to sing or teach someone to play the guitar or the harmonica. However, that may be the tool to accomplishing something else. Maybe we're working on lung function. Maybe we're working on social interaction. Maybe we're working on physically being able to tie my shoes, right? So we're using music as the tool to help us get to that other goal. It happens within a therapeutic relationship. I can use music for myself, and I do a lot, to help me regulate my mood or express myself, all of those different things we just talked about. But in this context, you need that other person to guide you, right? So the therapist is helping the client figure out what it is they need to figure out, learn to do what they're trying to do. that relationship becomes very, very important because it helps create a safe space for somebody to learn to do something new or in a different way, right? Somebody has had a stroke and is relearning to walk again because one side of the body doesn't want to do that. Being in contact with that music therapist who knows how to utilize the music to help them walk. So we're going to use rhythmic, steady, paced music at a certain pace to help them move. Side note, interesting thing, that when one part of the brain gets damaged, other parts kick in. And they may not respond to just saying, the physical therapist says, I want you to take 3 steps, and that's really hard to do. But if the music therapist joins them and plays music, the brain, a different part of the brain is activated and knows how to do that. And then they walk in rhythm, right? We entrain with that rhythm that we're hearing and feeling. So that's the relationship part. Must be a credentialed professional. In order to be a music therapist, you have to complete a degree, 4-year degree program in music therapy, which is a combination of all the music stuff. You've got to understand music history and music theory and all of the different things, as well as being proficient on your instrument. Voice, in Jackie's case, my initial instrument was piano, so we have to reach a level of competency there. Because if you're not competent in understanding the tool that is music, you're not going to be able to manipulate it to help somebody in a different way. An example might be if I'm playing a song and working with somebody and their voice is lower, so I need to transpose the song. I need to know how to do that, right? Technology is great and it'll do a lot of things for us, but if I'm playing the guitar, technology is not going to help me in that. I need to know how to transpose to a lower key. I could go on all day, but I won't. So that's the completing the approved program. Once you complete that 4-year degree, you have to complete a clinical internship. I mentioned Jackie was one of my interns, my 13th actually, the lucky 13th. I think we've had 27. I've lost track of them. And it's a 6-month clinical internship where they come and work with a board-certified music therapist to make sure that they have the skills and really are able to do all of the different things. In all different arenas, music therapists work in hospitals, they work in rehab centers, they work in schools, they work with folks on the autism spectrum, they work with folks with physical disabilities, emotional disabilities, substance abuse issues, just all of the different arenas that you can think of. After they finish that 6-month internship, then they are eligible to take their board certification exam. And once they do that and pass it, then they are able to use the credential music therapist board certified. So you'll see after names MTBC, music therapist board certified. There are also now many additional layers of certification in specialized arenas that people can do. You can focus in on NICU work, working with the preemies in the NICU, or neurologic music therapy for the strokes and the different neurologic disorders. Bunches of, so many, I can't even begin. All right, so, yes, and it lists here some of the things that we might be addressing. Again, we kind of talked a little bit about that. So yeah, let's go on to the next one because time's flying. All right, so with that said, a brief history of how we got to the Arts and Medicine program at Baton Rouge General, and how I think our connection, well, besides the connection with Jackie winning the award 10 years ago, I started working at Baton Rouge General 13 years ago, and have worked as a music therapist. I graduated in 1984 from Colorado State, and have been working in that field ever since. And back in the 80s, people said, music what? 2025, people still say music what? What are you talking about? It's not as well known as some of the other therapies, but it is definitely growing. And I've worked primarily in mental health programs, but that's how I got to Baton Rouge General. I started off as a part-time person, and it eventually grew to get to a full-time job, which they didn't have enough, need for me at that point. So my boss said, you should go talk to this person who's starting this arts and medicine program. And so I met her, her name's Kim Henderson, and she's a musician as well, and she had gotten a grant to start a program to bring art and music into the medical arena. Our CEO said, I want there to be art on the walls and music in the halls to help make this a place people want to come to. Because let's face it, nobody wants to come to a hospital, right? Unless you absolutely have to. And so my connection with arts and medicine began, and it allowed me to take my music therapy skills into all the other areas of the hospital, all the medical units, the burn unit, the pediatric unit, and figure out how to adapt what I was used to doing in behavioral health, which was doing groups and helping teach coping strategies, to helping folks deal with what's happening in that little bubble, that little beige room bubble when you're in the hospital. And also connecting with family members and staff. So what we've figured out and what we've been able to do is through philanthropy, through donors, we've been able to grow the program significantly over the last 13 years. And we have artists in residence, we have musicians, a couple other music therapists, one other besides Jackie and myself. But we also have about a dozen volunteers that come and go at any given time. They're artists, they're musicians, they're writers, they're dancers. It could be any kind of creative spirit. We're starting to get some graphic design interest going. So just all sorts of different things, but we have worked really hard over the last decade to get to know the staff and to teach the staff who we are and what we do. And we bring art, we bring music into the patient areas. It may be an individual patient room, it may be out in an open space, like outside the cafeteria, or inside the cafeteria. Some of y'all have sung at our cafeteria for our Friday Lunch Live concert, right? So we bring live music into that space, and hundreds of people pass through there in the lunchtime hours, and it's staff, it's patients, it's family members, it's vendors, it's paramedics, it's just the community. We have one lady who literally comes and has lunch at our hospital every day. She does not work there, but she just loves it there, so she comes and has lunch nearby every day. And she especially loves the Friday Lunch Lives, and gave me advice on those when I started running this program after Kim left. Anyway, all good. So it's just such a great opportunity, and it's so well supported by our administration, and we've gotten to where now the nurses and the physicians know us and know who we are and what we bring. They can put in a referral and ask us to go see their specific patient. The patients call us sometimes when we have repeat customers, if they're maybe in an oncology situation or something where they come every 6 months for another round of treatment. They can call and say, hey, I'm back. I would like to paint a ceiling tile, or I would like to have some live music today. Or the nurse can call me and say, this patient's really down today. Is there somebody that can come and give them something else to think about for a minute, right? So we're just so grateful to be able to do all of that. How are we doing? Good. Who's next?
I can give a little background for
Okay, yeah.
So,
So,
you want to say how it started?
sure. So we're going to focus in on the pulmonary rehab program, which got started again. That same CEO got an article, saw an article in a magazine, a health magazine or something one time, and he sent it to Kim, who sent it to me and said, "Help! What do we do?" And the article was about using harmonicas in pulmonary health to help people's lung function and breathing improve. And I was on my way to a conference, a music therapy conference with my second intern, I do remember that. And I texted her back or called her back and said, we got this, no problem. And so we put together a protocol and thought we would initiate it in the inpatient arena, but it didn't fly as well there. So we moved it to the outpatient pulmonary rehab program, part of the cardiac program as well, where they come in after after they've gotten out of the hospital, they come back and maybe 2-3 times a week, and they come and they get exercise and all sorts of other stuff, which I'm gonna let Jackie talk about. But we've added music therapy to that, and now, almost 10 years later, because of course at the beginning, patients were like, "You want me to do what?" But think about the little tube thing, if you've ever seen that little breather thing, whatever it's called, it's escaping, it's got to blow the ball up in the tube. You can get similar benefits from playing a harmonica, and it's a much more fun and pleasing sound to play a harmonica. So I'm going to turn it over to Jackie and let her talk about that, and I'm going to start passing stuff out. Is that right?
So the pulmonary rehab program, as Mary said, is housed within the outpatient rehab arena, and it is split between cardiac rehab and pulmonary rehab, but we're going to focus on the pulmonary side of things. So these are patients who have a diagnosis of asthma, cystic fibrosis, COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Chronic nerve paralysis is one of the more interesting diagnoses I've encountered. So the chronic nerve is actually what controls the diaphragm, and you can have heavy or half of your diaphragm paralyzed, or you can have the whole thing paralyzed. And of course, COVID, pneumonia, any respiratory disorders. And then interstitial lung disease is when there is scar tissue surrounding your alveoli, and those are the little air sacs, the smallest unit within your lungs. So any and all respiratory disorders, music therapy has been proven to help with. So I conduct 15 to 20-minute individual sessions with each patient twice a week, and they're often here for about 12 weeks, depending on their diagnosis and insurance approval, of course. But they're not just doing music therapy. It's used in conjunction with exercise technicians who develop an individualized program for each patient. We have a nutritionist, we have a counselor who provides that emotional support, and of course we have respiratory therapists and nurses to handle the more medical side of things. So here we go. Specifically, what does the music therapy portion do? So I'll kind of break it into the pre-session, the core of it, and post. So pre and post, we measure everyone's O2 rate. So everyone wears an O2 sensor that detects their oxygen saturation and their heart rate. And we always want the O2 to be 88% and above. I like it as high as I can get it. And heart rate to be in that kind of resting area. And the baseline breathing measurement is I will ask them to breathe in for as long as they can and breathe out for as long as they can. Of course, through the harmonica. That way, you have that auditory feedback so you can tell how strong and steady your breathing is, which is very helpful for them. And then we do that at the end as well, see where we get with hopefully improvement in those numbers by the end of the session. But the bulk of it, we have 6 exercises that we do, and I will walk y'all through those in a minute. But I also educate them on just how do we breathe properly and most effectively, and how posture plays an important role in that. And then some of them, it's not mandatory, but some of them have become really motivated in learning whole songs and not just doing the exercises. So it gives them a way to practice at home. Some of them have even purchased second harmonicas to play with family members. I have one gentleman who plays with his grandson, and they learn songs together that way. Their go-to right now is Lean on Me, and they're doing great. So let me walk y'all through first the education portion of what I teach my patients. So how many singers and wind instrument players do we have in here? The bulk of us. Okay, so I might not be teaching y'all anything new here, but we'll go through it nonetheless. So the diaphragm is So, the diaphragm separates our abdominal and thoracic cavities, and when we breathe in, it lowers and provides us more room for our rib cage to expand and elevate, because our rib cage, don't think of it so much as a cage, it's not stuck. That cartilage allows it to move and allows us more room for our lungs to breathe. And that's connected to our intercostal muscles around our ribs, also allows that to lift and elevate. And then when we breathe out, the diaphragm's gonna relax, and when it relaxes, it kind of goes back up in that curve around our lungs. And the pressure in the thoracic cavity will increase, and that forces the air back out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. And then pursed lip breathing is one of the most important things respiratory therapists and our music therapists teach the pulmonary rehab patients. So it allows us to breathe just most effectively. It's gonna help us get rid of all that CO2 in our lungs more effectively, which is gonna help up our O2 sats. It's gonna allow our lungs to empty more completely, so emptying out those alveoli. I hope I'm saying that right, alveoli. It's gonna also help slow down our breathing rate, also slow down our heart rate, decrease blood pressure if that's kind of elevated, and it helps us feel more relaxed as well. Because anytime we're stressed, our heart rate can elevate, our breathing rate increases, and then we're not getting as much oxygen to our brains as we need to. So it keeps the airway open longer, so it decreases the effort associated with breathing. And that's a big thing for a lot of these patients. Shortness of breath and stamina can be really difficult. So anything like this, the pursed lip breathing, is gonna help them work smarter and not harder, okay? So for pursed lip breathing, a lot of times when we're not playing the harmonica, we'll breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth like we're gonna whistle or like we have a straw there, but without actually making a sound. But you wanna hear that kind of wind sound. And that's the most beneficial way to breathe. And our bodies also breathe more naturally when we're laying down. So if anytime I have a patient who is having trouble feeling that lowering of the diaphragm and expansion of those lungs, I'll tell them the next time you're going to bed, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And we want that chest hand to remain as still as possible. We don't want to be breathing like this. We want that expansion of the diaphragm and to feel all those visceral organs moving down there. We're not actually getting air down here. It's just the result of the diaphragm lowering. So, next up is our posture check. And this is one of our favorite parts of that education portion. It turned on. Okay. It didn't like the ref. All right. So whenever we're practicing our breathing, generally our patients are sitting. We want our feet flat on the floor. We want our torso nice and elevated. I grew up singing in choirs, and my high school choir teacher always told me, imagine there's a tree coming out the top of your head, and it's just helping to lift you, elongate that spine. That's exactly what we want. And we want our shoulders relaxed, not up here, not pushed back, but just in a nice, relaxed, neutral position. And we want that rib cage elevated. And I think the favorite thing that I tell my patients, they get a kick out of this, is to do the touchdown man. So we want our elbows in line with our shoulders and kind of in line with the midline of the body here. So if you do that, take a nice deep breath. Your lungs have so much room like this. It feels so good. So the goal is we're gonna lower our arms posture for our rib cage. And no collapsing in on ourselves when we breathe. Shoulders relaxed, rib cage elevated. Oh, and polite elbows. No lazy dinner table elbows. If we're playing at a table, we want to support ourselves as much as we can and not rely on something else to keep us up. Because of course, we want to be working those intercostal muscles. So, if I ever say posture check, that's what I mean. Touchdown, man. All right? So now you have your harmonicas. Thank you, Mary. So, why harmonicas? So, the harmonicas are going to kind of mimic that pursed lip breathing. And can you hold this one up? So, these boxes can be finicky. What you want to do, I have the best luck when I'm holding it kind of away from me, and I press down and in on that rich part, and then it'll open like that. Ta-da.
Can I throw in a couple of things on these harmonicas? So these are yours to keep. Once you play a harmonica, it's yours. We don't share. We learned that before COVID, but if COVID taught us anything. As you're opening them up, notice that there's some instructions in the box. Yep, there's some wipes, some little alcohol wipes there. Those are useful for wiping it down after you've played. And, I was able to open it yesterday. Jackie had to open it for me. And then the harmonica, when you pull it out of the box, you also have a little chamois polishing cloth in there. So all of that is yours to keep. But yeah, everybody get your harmonica out, and give that back to you.
And each patient gets these free of charge. It is all through our grant funding that they don't have to pay a dime out of pocket for music therapy services, which is awesome. So, the harmonica kind of mimics that pursed lip breathing we talked about. So, when you're playing, holding it with one hand or two, I'm going to do one. And in and out. It's that same exact pursed lip breathing.
Make sure that the holes are facing you. That's where you're breathing in and out. There's a series of little black holes.
So if you look down at it, you should be able to see the East Rock. Beautiful.
One gentleman did ask me what key the harmonicas are in. These are in the key of C. They're all in the key of C. So that we can play together. But you can get them in multiple other keys if you want to really go to town with this.
These are diatonic, but you can get chromatic ones as well that have 24 holes instead of just 10. But you'll notice when we breathe in, it creates a 5 or 5/7 chord, and when we blow out, that is our tonic chord. Easy peasy. So, you have that auditory feedback for how your breathing is, right? If it's all wobbly or not steady, we can hear that and really target what we need to do to fix it. And you can't mess it up. It sounds good. It's called the harmonica for a reason. It's harmonious. So I always tell everyone, no musical experience is required. It's a tool that we're using. So, y'all ready to learn some breathing exercises? So, posture check. Beautiful. I love touchdown man. Thank you. So, sure. So each of these exercises is designed to kind of tackle a certain area of our breathing, whether it's filling up our lungs all the way, working on that inspiration, or being able to push that air out of our lungs, that expiration, or working on just capacity or stamina. And a very common symptom with COPD or other respiratory disorders is a cough. So a lot of these exercises can help you strengthen the muscles surrounding the cough, and in the long term, control your cough better. So, our first exercise, it says 3 short inhales one big inhale, break it into thirds. And in between each small exhale, you're gonna take a little pause, all right? Very short, but it'll sound like this. And I want you to get all the way full with those lungs by that end of that third inhale. Let's try that together. 3 short ins. Beautiful. And next one, you can try out different parts of the harmonica, the low or the high end. When I'm practicing with patients, we tend to hang out in the middle because you might find as you play around with your harmonica, it needs just a little bit more force when you're playing at the extreme ends. So if you want to slide around or if you want to hang out in the middle, up to you. So the next exercise is the exact opposite. So that first one helped us make sure we get a good stretch for our lungs. We're full up all the way. This next one is going to help more with the expiratory aspect. So we're going to do one big full inhale and then break that exhale down into thirds. I kind of like to compare it to you're blowing out all those birthday candles. So 4 times, one big in. Yes, we kind of work our way up in difficulty through these exercises. So by the last one, we get a good workout. A lot of the patients say, this is just as much of a workout as their actual workout, right? And the cool thing that I didn't mention, I like to compare the harmonica to the resistance bands that they use in actual exercise. So if we're just breathing regularly, we have nothing fighting back against us, right? But this makes us work just that little bit So, let's do it. Loud inhale. And super, super soft. Beautiful. I don't know who that was, but great job. Loud in. So y'all feel how the soft really takes a lot more conscious effort and control. You win. Y'all feel that difference in the loud and the soft? Okay. So now we're gonna flip it around. We want to inhale as slowly and for as long as possible. So super, super controlled. I like to imagine we got an imaginary balloon in our bellies, and we're just inflating it as softly and slowly as we can. You don't want to pop the balloon. And then for the exhale, I like to imagine the big bad wolf. We're blowing that house down, puffing it all away. Get rid of your air as quickly as possible. All right? So let's do that. And some of y'all might be able to inhale longer, but we'll try to stay together. All right? So soft in. Go and fill it all the way. Stretch those lungs. Posture check. Good. And soft in. Loud. Good. Remember, no collapsing in on ourselves. Soft in. And loud. One more time, softest one yet, slow. And louder. Beautiful. Awesome, big bad wolves. So, our last exercise is really going to help us a lot with stamina and endurance. I call this one the marathon, not a sprint. It's everybody's favorite box breathing. Y'all are probably familiar with that term somewhat. So, all sides of the box are equal. That is why it's a square. And as we held for 4 earlier, we're going to count to 4 for this exercise too. So you're going to breathe in, make it last for 4 counts. Then you're going to hold your breath, make that last for 4 counts. Then you're going to breathe out, 4 counts. And that last arm of the square, you can either hold it, that's our kind of higher level difficulty, hold it for 4 counts, or for some of my patients who might need a break, they can just take a normal breath there. So choose your own difficulty. And we're counting at about, we were aiming for 60 to 70 beats a minute when we're doing this exercise. I don't have a metronome with me right now, but we're gonna go around the box 4 times, and it'll be 4 counts for each side. In, hold, out, hold. You ready? All right, on the count the whole time. Here we go. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. 2, 3, 4, and out. about that number. We can do 6 beats instead of 4. As long as it's equal on all sides, it's still a box. All right? So, anything? All right. Any questions about the exercises specifically?
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, now we get to the more fun part. How do you learn a song on the harmonica? Basically, all you need to know is your numbers 1 through 10 and in or out. And we call the inhales, we are drawing in our air, and the exhales, we are blowing out our air. And like I said, when we're drawing in, it's a 5-chord, and blowing out is that 1 chord. And you can see all the notes. So there's 10 holes on your harmonica. And like I said, we said it's in the key of C. So each specific hole has a different pitch when we blow or draw.
And if you look at the top of your harmonica in the metal, their numbers are etched.
It's
1
in
through
3.
10. It's
Yeah.
a little hard to see.
So you want to make sure you're holding the harmonica with the numbers on top. Because if you have it flipped the other way, you're going to be playing a different song. Which is fine. Yeah. So, harmonica tabs are just the lyrics and the numbers above the specific pitch. We start, or I start everybody pretty much on this song because growing up in Louisiana, we all know this song, right? So, the draw notes or inhalations are represented by a minus sign or a dash below, next to the number. So, we have exhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. Alright? Or did I just mix it up? Some people don't worry about only getting that 1 hole. That can be difficult. Actual harmonica players use their tongue, they kind of curve it to block the other holes. Sometimes I will put my finger on either side if I want to really clearly define that pitch. But if you get a hole on either side, it's still going to sound all right because it's a harmonica. And it's harmonica, right? So, for you are my sunshine, we're blowing out first. Now we kind of hear it, right? Let's try to do it all together. And I'm going to go really slow. Or should I sing it and you play it? You can try that. So I will sing. Yeah, just a good look here closer. It's much easier. And I will try to show the numbers on my finger. If that helps, I'll see if I can because it's mostly, we're hanging out between 3 and 6. We're not even using the extreme ends of the instrument. So, I will try and conduct. I was not a music education major, but I will do my best. So, here we go. Did anyone figure out your song on the harmonica today? You did it? Yes.
So just again, to reflect back to from where we started today, talking about all of the different aspects of ourselves that are involved in making music. We were physically involved in that, yes?
Yes.
You were breathing, you were blowing, you were inhaling, exhaling, paying attention to posture, all of it. Cognition. You learned, I think for most of you, a new instrument today. From the beginning of just how to pull it out of the box and see what you're looking at to making music on it. You learned a bunch of exercises, and then we really upped the ante with the song, because now it does matter a little bit which hole you're blowing through. Are you breathing in through it or blowing out? So there's a whole lot more thought process involved there. So we're working brain cells all over the place, right? Emotional, anybody feel anything different after doing that today?
Yeah.
Happy, wonderful. We had some fun, I think, excited, right? Wonderful, amazing. I mean, we all did it together, so there's that social connection again, right? Y'all are used to making music together, but this was a whole different thing. So I think we've covered all the territory in a short amount of time. So it's a great expression of what it is we do. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, how did we get a copy of that song?
Oh, the song,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Maybe Bridget could get it for us from Congress.
so yeah, I can email this presentation. I would love that to y'all. And I have these resources, so if you want to know everything about how our lungs work, I have the physiology of breathing up here. The harmonica tabs and online tutorials, that's the bottom left one. So there are so many, there are thousands and thousands of songs on, it's just harmonica.com. Super easy to remember. They also have video tutorials if you want to get fancy, start learning how to bend your pitches and get more fancy with it.
Get more Bob Dylan-y.
Yeah, they have entire lessons on there, and most of it is all free. All of the harmonica tabs are free. And of course, I have our organization's website. I have Baton General's Arts of Medicine and Pulmonary Rehab page on here. And the bottom right, link is we were actually featured in the paper, pretty statewide, which was amazing. For this March is Pulmonary Rehab Awareness Month. And instead of our individual sessions, I conducted a large group session with all the patients, and that's actually what this picture is from. So this is our actual exercise lab. These are actual patients who have their consent given. These are our respiratory therapists and our nurses in the back here. So, and Mary also has our just general arts of medicine information, and that has how to contact us as well. Our business cards are up there. Our contact information is also at the end of this slide. So yes, I am more than happy to share this presentation with y'all. Yes.
So how does one qualify for singing therapy from?
So these services have to be ordered by a pulmonologist if you want to participate in the pulmonary rehabilitation program at Baton Rouge. In the long run, we are hoping to have more therapists available, especially in private practice or just able to serve the community at large. The great thing about that is LSU, their music therapy program is now up and running. Students are going to be graduating in the next year or so. So hopefully that's going to have more therapists available to a broader range of people.
I think that harmonicas should be in every voice studio.
I agree. To teach breathing.
And your church choir.
I can't tell you how many patients that I've had in the pulmonary rehab program who have said to me, and folks in their 70s or whatever, who have said, how come no one ever taught me this before? Just how to breathe, how the breathing apparatus works. Why did I not ever learn this before? Like, that's a really good question. That needs to be early.
A really cool patient story. I've had a patient, he was there when I was an intern in 2019, seconds at a time. He is now up to double digits.
All right.
So that's one of my proudest accomplishments. So it really shows that this stuff works. We're not just playing the harmonica here. Sometimes when I am introducing this to new patients, they're like, whoa, that's just weird, right? But people really get a good workout from it. Did I see another hand?
Yeah, my name's Ron Brad, I don't know anything about it. I'll never learn harmonica, I'm sure. Not one will try. But I have no technical, but I'm de facto a musical therapist. I played music for probably, I don't know how many people. I played 25 years in Metro Baton Rouge, and 1 year I played 63 solo gigs at retirement communities. I still play only one. I'll be 85 next week. And I only play once a month for Charlie's Place, which you may be familiar with. You know, I've seen people who are essentially comatose start moving. I have 3 family members, my parents and an uncle, all passed away of Alzheimer's. So it's a big thing for me. I'm actually in the music program. I haven't played for y'all in several years, but Kim had me play at both hospitals. I play tenor sax. I practiced law for a living, 40 years. It's way more fun to play music. I've played off and on since I was 9, and probably have played somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 solo gigs for nothing. It's my pro bono service to practice law. It's way more fun than practice law, trust me. And I don't have any of the technical orientation to the program, just a lot of practical. You know, I have played for folks who marched in the Tiger Band with me. That was 58 to 62, by the way. Who were lawyers I knew, judges I knew. I played people who, priests I knew. None of them knew me because I was playing at Alzheimer's services in Charlie's Place. But music is extremely powerful. I can tell you that. And I wish everybody, whether you can learn the harmonica, which I can't, but can sing or play instruments, there's virtually nobody in here can do that. You know, consider doing it. You know, it's my de facto way of showing that you can help people with music. Thank you for your presentation.
And ladies, it was absolutely